Okay, this guided practice is going to be a review of sine, cosine, and tangent. And so before we go farther, we are not going to worry about these today. We are not worrying about these today. We're only worried about review of sine, cosine, and tangent. And even though it is written SohCahToa as a mnemonic, a lot of people like to write it as like this. So it helps you with the ratio. But what it means is sine of the angle is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse, and cosine of the angle is equal to adjacent over the hypotenuse, and tangent of the angle is equal to opposite over the hypotenuse. So that is where SohCahToa comes from as a abbreviation, because you have S for sine, O for opposite, H for hypotenuse, etc. Okay, then the other thing that we need to make sure everybody understands is if we are worried about this angle theta, if this is our angle that we are worried about, then directly across from that angle is the opposite side. Across from the hypotenuse, or across from the right angle, is always the hypotenuse. And that means the other side, the one that you could actually reach out and touch on part of this angle, is the adjacent. Okay, so that's how we determine that. So in looking at this first triangle, okay, we are going to be considering the angle y. So if we are considering the angle y, then across from the angle y is the opposite. Across from the right angle is the hypotenuse. And the piece that is actually touching the y is the adjacent. And therefore, we are going to have sine of y is equal to 9/12, which reduces to 3/4. Cosine of y is 12/15, which reduces to 4/5. And tangent of y is 9/12, which reduces to 3/4. And I did this one wrong. Good golly, Wally. Sometimes I scare myself. There we go. All right, because this is supposed to be the OH, and this is the AH. And this is the O. A. There we go. So our answers are going to be the reduced form. Then if we want to find out what y is, the value of y is going to equal, and all I'm going to do is take any of these answers, and type them in the calculator. If I take any of those answers, type them in the calculator, I'm going to get the value of y. So if I go to my calculator, and wait for it. This is in your Canvas if you don't want to have a physical one on your desk or in your hand. And it is in Classroom Resources. And you hit sign, start, and a little calculator button. Your calculator needs to be in mode degrees. So make sure you are in degrees. And then you can type in any one of these answers, 3/5. So you can hit second sine of 3/5. Or you could hit second cosine of 4/5. Or you could hit second tangent of 3/4. Either way, you get the same answer. 36.9, 36.9, 36.9. So y is 36.9 degrees. Now, a lot of people would tell us that if we don't want to reduce our fractions every time we write a fraction, what they would do is they would, once they have this information right here, they would take that information, come on. They would take that information and they would reduce the fraction before they started. So, for instance, they would take this triangle and they would notice that 9, 12, and 15 are all factors or multiples of 3, so they would make that a 3. Too fat. They would strike this out and make this a 3. They would strike this out and make this a 4. They would strike this out and make this a 5. And then when they write sine of y, their fractions would already be reduced. And frankly, that's what I usually do. I just forgot. But that would be an easy way to do that too if you wanted to. Totally your call. I like to reduce the triangle before I get going. So if we look at this one, we're going to find y again. So if the angle that I'm worried about is the angle y, then across from the angle y is going to be the opposite side. Across from the hypotenuse, oops, how I say that wrong, across from the right angle is the hypotenuse, which means the leg that hasn't been talked about yet, or the leg that actually touches y, is the adjacent. And then I am going to find sine of y. So sine of y is the opposite over the hypotenuse. Cosine of y is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. And tangent of y is the opposite over the adjacent. And therefore the value of y, 12/13, we'll go to our calculator, we'll hit second sine of 12 divided by 13. We're going to get 67.4. So 67.4 degrees. Okay. And that is it. On this one, if, let's see, this is going to be capital A. Let's make this B then. And let's make this C. First, we need to find A. So A squared is going to be 9 squared minus 5 squared. Again, because this is the right angle, making this the hypotenuse. And we learned the Pythagorean theorem. Is A squared plus B squared equals C squared, or in this case, A squared equals C squared minus B squared. So A squared equals 81 minus 25. 81 minus 25, 56, which if we go y, 56 divided by x squared is going to be, move over here, 2 root 14, 2 root 14. That's A. So that is 2 root 14. We are going to find the angle at B. So this is the opposite side. And the side that touches B is the adjacent side. So we are going to say sine of B is equal to the opposite divided by the hypotenuse. Cosine of B is equal to the adjacent divided by the hypotenuse. And tangent of B is equal to the opposite over the adjacent. We cannot have a radical in the denominator. So we have to use the square root of 14, the square root of 14. So, wrong color, Mrs. Leonard, thank you. Tangent of B is 5 square roots of 14 over 14 times 2, 28. And then we're going to find the value of B. Okay, so the value of B is 5/9 sine. Second, let's clear for a second. Second sine of 5 divided by 9. 33.7. 33.7. And we could use any of the other ones. We could do cosine 2 radical 14 divided by 9. We could go second cosine 2 radical 14. Then we got to arrow out. Then we got to close the parenthesis. And then we got to go divided by 9. Oh, not 9 divided by, what was it? Yeah, 2 radical 14 divided by 9. Second cosine 2 radical 14 divided by 9. Is it not 2 radical 14? It is. 2 radical 14 divided by 9. Let's see what's wrong with my work. Okay, so I am interested. 9 squared minus, what was it? Minus 5 squared. 9 squared minus 5 squared is 56. The square root of 56 is that. And 2 square roots of 14 is that. So that piece is 2 square roots of 14. So it would be 2 square roots of 14 divided by 9. So it would be second cosine of 2 square roots of 14. Get out of that. Oh, divided by 9. I had the parenthesis in the wrong place. My bad. We get 33.7. And then, okay, so, and then the other one would have been tangent, 5 square roots of 14 divided by 28. Second tangent, 5 square roots of 14, arrow out of it, divided by 28, close it, would have got me the same thing. But which one was easier to put in? The one that was easier to put in was the one without the radicals in it. Okay, so that's why I picked to put in sine, because it was easier. Oh, and that needs a degree symbol with it. There we go. All right, that's a little rocky, Leonard. So this one, first we needed to use the Pythagorean theorem to find a. So it's going to be a squared is equal to 7 squared minus 4 squared. So a is going to be equal to 7 squared minus 4 squared. 7 squared minus 4 squared, which is 33. So the square root of 33. And since that's letter A down there, that's got to be letter A up there. So let's go ahead and make this B and make this C. We are again going to find B. And because that's B there, this is the opposite. And because this is the right angle, this is the hypotenuse. And because this is the piece that is actually adjacent to or touching angle B, this is the adjacent piece. And so we are going to have sine of B is equal to 4/7. Cosine of B is root 33/7. And tangent of B is equal to 4 over root 33. But we're not allowed roots in the denominator of fractions. So that means tangent is going to be written as tangent of B is 4 root 33 over 33. And then again, I can type any of these in the calculator that I want to find the value of B. Any of those will find the value of B, but one of them is easier than the other. And this happens to be sine in this case, so sine of 4/7. So second sine of 4 divided by 7 is 34.8. And by the way, you always want to make sure that you're in degrees. Notice the degree, the word degree there on the third line, you're in degrees. So 34.8 degrees, 34.8 degrees, 34.8 degrees, 34.8 degrees. B is 34.8 degrees. That degree symbol looks like a 6. There we go. And that is a reminder of how to do SohCahToa, sine, cosine, and tangent. And tomorrow we will do Thursday we'll do the other 3. Okay, my friends, that is it. Thank you very much.